Welcome, everyone. I'm now calling this meeting to order. Please stand with us. We'll be led in prayer by Alderman Gallagher. Please remain standing after that for the Pledge of Allegiance. Will be led by Alderman Payne.
Heavenly Father, once again we gather in your name, Lord. We pray that you would be with us, Lord, to help us make decisions that would be pleasing to you in everything that we do, Lord. Lord, I want to pray for Steve Faulkner in particular, Lord Jesus, that you would just reach down and touch his body, Lord, and heal him from his problems that he's having, Lord. Lord, I pray that you bless this meeting, bless the city of Southaven. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first on the agenda this evening is approval of minutes for the October 1, 2019 meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the minutes of the regular meeting of October 1st, 2019 with any additions, deletions, or corrections.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hayes.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is the FY19 final budget amendment. Mr. Chris Wilson.
Mayor Board, this is simply the last budget amendment that closes out the FY 2019 year. And this closes out so we can go ahead and get started with our audit, which will have the engagement letter for y'all hopefully next board meeting for that.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the budget amendment as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hayes.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution for liens to assessments. Mr. Nick Manley.
This is the resolution for those with the, as you recall, when we condemned the lots in 2019-11, this will allow for those liens to be filed as assessments with the tax assessor to be collected on the taxes for FY19. That will be collected in FY20. So now I just need authorization for the mayor to sign this resolution.
Mr. Mayor, I move we adopt the resolution, Mayor Board of Aldermen of the City of Southaven adjudicating the cost of cleaning property. Is that the right one?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. The cost of adjudicating the cost of cleaning property, imposing a penalty, and imposing assessment of the same against property, give you permission to sign as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion among the board? Hearing none, is there anyone in the audience that has a financial interest in any of the properties that would like to speak? Hearing or seeing none, roll call please.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hayes.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution for the City of Southaven for the proposed general obligations bond project series 2020.
This resolution is resolution intent for the issuance of up to $15 million in bonds by the City of Southaven. It'll be advertised over the next couple of weeks with next time it's brought in front of you will be the second meeting in November. Tonight you just need authorization for the mayor to sign the resolution of intent and so it can be published in the 7 times as well.
I'll make that motion. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Again, just to clarify, I did receive a couple of questions about this. This is basically, the resolution to start the process, but we've not set a final dollar amount, nor have we, completed the capital improvement plan that the board, will do in the near future. That has not been done yet, and this is not committing the city to specifically how the money is spent. So, any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Mayor, this was, I actually left this off. There will also be the engagement letters that'll go along with that too. I can present those real quick if you don't mind, for the engagement letters with the resolution.
Sure, please do.
As part of the resolution, the engagement letters for bond counsel for Butler Snow, FA with government consultants, and then Raymond James as the underwriter, authorize the mayor to sign the engagement letter with all three of those entities as part of the bond issuance.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is the MDA DIP grant agreement with Medline.
And I'm still not, I was hoping to have the final versions of those tonight. I emailed with council from Medline this afternoon. We're still waiting on the final version. So my thought tonight would be just get authorization for the mayor to sign those agreements contingent upon the DIP grant being reflected that it's reduced by $250,000, that it has a 10-year tax assessment, 10-year tax abatement, 350 jobs within 5 years following execution, 100 jobs within 6.5 years of the DIP MA execution, for a total of 450 jobs, and that Medline will reimburse the city if those goals are not met, which the city will then reimburse MDA. If it reflects those terms, my thought tonight would be authorizing the mayor to sign that contingent upon those terms being in the agreements for the MOA and the site inspection agreement, and then the next meeting, those agreements can be entered into the minutes for the board to have in the minutes. That way, they can help speed the process along. But since I don't have the final version, and we don't meet again for 3 more weeks, that was my thought for tonight. That's okay with the mayor and board.
I'll make that motion contingent on the term statement.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion?
And just to clarify, it'll be reduced by 250 because 250 will be applied toward the ACE grant, which will still be the same amount of money contributed to the project by MDA.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a sole source purchase, or purchases, I should say, by planning department.
Yeah, this is the resolution for the purchase of brackets, and the sole source letter and the cost are included with the resolution. It's with Britain Inc., and they have a special patent on the bracket that will utilize by the city for the hanging of the banners. The patent number and sole source letter are included as part of their sole source designation that has been provided to the city and included in the resolution.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt the resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Southaven authorizing single source item purchase by Southaven Planning Department as presented on this date.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution for surplus property in the utility department and police department.
Just standard resolution for surplus. There are 2 separate motions, but my thought would be having a resolution, 2 separate resolutions passed by 1 motion. So that's how, okay with the mayor and board.
Just declaring surplus property in one vote.
You can make a motion for both, and that way you'll be recorded. It could be 2 separate resolutions, but you're making a motion for both.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the resolution for surplus property in both the utility and the Southaven Police Department as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a Parks Department contract with Pepsi.
This contract will replace our current contract with Pepsi, and Wes Brown has done a good job of getting them to give us better terms than our current contract. We've gone back and forth with revisions, and Pepsi has accepted the revisions and has signed a contract that will they'll provide these drinks at the parks, which will be then obviously resold as part of our parks program. So tonight, just authorization for the mayor to sign the resolution with Pepsi for that program to sell the drinks at the Parks Department for resale and the cost thereof, and have any answer any questions that we may have on that.
So I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is authorization to accept the city health insurance renewal. Mr. Chris Wilson.
Our annual work cut out for us again this year. We're basically down to two proposals. One for re-up with Cigna. They came in at about 17% increase. The recommendation is to change, go to United Healthcare, which they came in at 12% increase over current. You'll recall that during the budget process, we for the 15% increase was already budgeted, so we do come in under that. So budgetarily, we're fine. The benefits, it's not an exact match on the benefit plans. One, United is both Baptist DeSoto and Methodist Network, so we do get Baptist back in our network, and zero copay for children under the United plan, which Cigna could not match. And at the end of the day, though, you're still talking about saving 5% on the bottom line for the city plan. But that is a 12% across the board increase for all tiers. And open enrollment, should we decide tonight, would be 1st of November. Because making the switch, as we recommended to do, will take some time, and we want to make sure the employees have enough, gear enough time to learn the new plan. But as far as the formularies, prescriptions, and the plans, exclusions, it's pretty standard across both plans.
So Methodist is Methodist and Baptist both?
Yes, it was Baptist DeSoto.
Baptist,
And this will be also contingent upon, that rate is also contingent upon going with United for dental and vision also, and they are proposing a 5% reduction in dental and a 10% reduction for current rates in vision. So, some savings there too.
Chris, you just said Baptist, so is that, so the Baptist and Memphis will be covered?
No, currently we're not in Baptist network at all.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is.
No, it would be just Baptist DeSoto.
So what if you go here and they have to transfer you to Baptist for some specialized something, so you're out of network automatically then?
I mean, we'd have to get into the plan details on what the specifics of that would be. I mean, obviously with the emergency care, it's all network. But, if you get transferred out of network, I think they work with that. But,
I know they do it quite a bit, if you have like a stroke or something, they transfer you to Baptist East or something like that.
well, generally, they're going to transfer you to where your network is after the emergency care is given, but that's.
Your recommendation is to go with United.
Yes, yes.
I make a motion to accept the United proposal.
Second.
Got a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Gallagher. I'll add a little more discussion just so everyone will know. As we discussed previously, the city has experienced extremely high loss ratios with health insurance over the last 3 or 4 years. A lot of past years, this board has decided, along with me agreeing, that we don't want to take away benefits. It means a lot to us to be able to provide the city employees with a quality health care plan at no cost to them. Obviously, employees pay for the dependent care, but it's a big deal for the city to still provide a health insurance policy for our employees at no cost to them, and we've been able to maintain that. In order to be able to continue with that, it is important to note that we've had to make some changes to the carriers. Like we had to go to them and agree to 2 different things. Like last year, we had the same, as Chris said, we got the same package, $2,000 deductibles what the city pays. You can go dependents, for your dependents you can go up or you can go to 3 or 4. But in the past, we've allowed a buy down to 1,000, and we don't. That's not available this year. And the reason that we did that again is to show the health insurance underwriters that we're serious about controlling our losses. Our loss ratio in 2019 was 160%. Someone pointed out that I was speaking insurance jargon, so let me simplify that just a little bit. What that means is if you pay, or the exact numbers, let me give you the exact. In 2019, we billed $2,284,000. That's how much premium the insurance company got from us. Our claims were, so far, this is not a complete year, $3,343,000. So I'll challenge anyone in the room if you want to take that business deal. If not, then I'd like to do some business with you after the meeting. Companies are not just going to do it, they're not going to do it anymore. I mean, our losses are just extremely high. We had to go to them to get a better deal, to get the premium down, to say, hey, we'll do some things to help control our losses. One of those is no more buy down, 1,000 deductible. The other thing that we're proposing at sign-in this open enrollment this year is the spouse exclusion. You know, we talked about that in a past budget meeting a few weeks ago. And what that is if your spouse has access to another employer-provided health insurance plan, they will no longer be eligible for the city plan. It does not affect dependents at all. Kids can stay where they are. If your spouse doesn't have another option, no change. That's still going to be available, but this spouse exclusion is something that's common throughout the United States. A lot of companies and organizations have gone to this to control losses. So Chris can tell you, what's the number? Was it 65? What was the number, the percentage?
Our claims over 25,000, 65% are benefit coverage.
So it just kind of lets you know that we have to do something, show the carriers something that we're doing, you know, to change our situation. Otherwise, next year we may not have the options that we do this year. So it's also my recommendation to the board. I think United Healthcare is a good option. I mentioned this in the department head meeting today. It's common that people will say one company's better than another. You know, this company pays well. There's actually no such thing as that. I mean, it's a standard policy, it's a contract. Basically, you're changing carriers, the coverage stays the same. If there's something that's not paid that was paid on your other policy, then you need to check and make sure that it was coded properly from the medical facility. So it's basically the same coverage. It's helping us control losses, and as Chris mentioned, there's a few extra perks that we'll have this year that we didn't have last year.
And the city plan will be the $2,000 deductible plan. That doesn't change. So the plan is offered free of charge. All employees will still be the $2,000 deductible.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is authorization to hire a paving consultant. Alderman Flores had a specialist that he's reached out to, and Alderman, if I'm understanding correctly, he's agreed to come to a special meeting before we actually hire him. So he's agreed to come, and if it's necessary after that meeting, then we would actually hire that person. Okay, well that's a kind gesture. We appreciate that. I think that'll be helpful. And we're waiting on him to respond back to you on when he can be available, or he or she. Okay, so I'll update the board as soon as, we don't need to take action tonight, so as soon as I know those dates, we'll go ahead and set a special meeting. We'll bring this consultant in, and we'll have a special meeting to ask questions and seek that wisdom and experience. Anything to add to that?
I mean, I was the regional president for APAC for a long time.
Okay, certainly qualified. Any other discussion about that before we move on? Okay. Next on the agenda is resolution to clean private property.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt a resolution granting authority to clean private property as presented on the state.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion among the board? Hearing none, is there anyone in the audience that has a financial interest in any of the properties that would like to speak? Hearing or seeing none, Roll call, please.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is our planning agenda. Ms. Whitney Cook.
First application, we have got a request for a conditional use permit to allow a full-service car wash to be located on the south side of Church Road, west of W. Ross Parkway. If you'll remember at the last meeting, we approved the lot. It's actually located next to the convenience store that was already approved on the hard corner. What we looked for in the conditional use is just to make sure that the area wasn't saturated with the use requested. The closest one we found was over by Lowe's because it is a full-service car wash. It did fall in line with the character of the neighborhood and that everything around it was commercial. So the planning commission did vote unanimously in favor of the conditional use.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve item number 1 as presented.
Second.
On item 1, we have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Item number 2 is the design review for that structure and for the office, the pay station and building itself. You'll see it's 2 tones of brick, it's stacked stone. It does have some bronze awnings. We had some comments from the planning commission in terms of the colors that needed to contrast a little bit better. We got those today, we're in agreement with those. They did have to add in the decorative lighting. They had extensive revisions to the landscape, which they did comply with. So with those changes, the recommendation is to approve as administratively submitted.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve item number 2 as presented.
Second.
On item 2, we have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion?
The ingress egress is off church, right?
The ingress egress is a shared access point off of Church Road, and it also shares a cross access over to W. Ross Parkway with the convenience store.
Okay.
Any other discussion on 2? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Our next application is by Tri-State Motors for a conditional use permit. As stated in their request, was for a minor vehicle repair shop to be on the north side of Brookhaven Drive, east of 51. More specifically, it's 1376 Brookhaven Drive. This has been a motor vehicle repair in the past. It's now being occupied by the applicant. We have had them vacate the use for motor vehicle repair at this point in time because they were not allowed on that. Some of the things we looked at is, you can see on there, it's a large parcel of land. It's included with 2 other buildings, and there seems to be storage on the back side of the 2 buildings that are included in there, and there's a lot of vacant space behind it. It's adjacent to the old Gossett salvage yard, so one of the stipulations we have on there is there can be no storage past where the fence line is. They've agreed to that. We have also had them put a more extensive list together. Like I stated, they decided to go with a minor vehicle repair, and I explained to them that that's a 24-hour, 48-hour period of repair. Minor repairs like quick, oil changes and things like that. What we found is that they actually buy insurance total cars, revamp them, and then sell them out. So we had them revise it to a motor vehicle repair shop, which was more extensive, and we put together a more detailed list of the things they will be doing. One of the stipulations we do have on there is that they cannot do paint there, so there will be no paint booth. And if there's more work extensive than this, then they have to send it off to an additional shop that's more qualified for it. They did agree to that, and that was the stipulations from the Planning Commission. So with that, we recommended approval of a 1-year with a 4-year conditional use to be re-inspected annually for 4 more years.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve item number 3 on the planning agenda as presented on the slide. Second.
On item 3, we have a motion by Alderman Kelly, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Item number 4 is the task order. I don't know if you wanted to address it or if you wanted me to explain task order for the new design and the bid process for the city entrance sign.
Yes, if you will just continue since we have it there, if you don't mind.
What we have is a task order from Urban Arc to design a new city entrance sign, which has the curved limestone and etched design detail, which is a little different from what you have up here at 55 and State Line Road. In addition to that, after this next sign that we're going to have constructed in Malone and Goodman, we'll have to go back out to bid for the remainder of the city entrance sign. So with that, this task order includes the design along with the bid process, the bid specs, and also construction inspections on site per sign. It does have a cap, a not to exceed number, and it's got hourly rates associated with it. The cap is at $14,500. In talking to Urban Arc and the project manager, we don't foresee it coming anywhere near that number. I talked to the mayor about it, and what we'll continue to do on this is have them itemize it a little bit further out and things that we can take on and monitor ourselves. Now that we've kind of got our feet wet with the signage, the things we can take on, we'll reduce their scope of work on that and we'll take that on ourselves. But we'll have an itemized list before we sign the invoices and put them on the docket to pay. So we're requesting approval for that.
And where will this sign go?
This is for the rest of our signs. The signage, what they're doing the drawing for now, is going to be on the northwest corner of Malone Road and Goodman Road. So our entrance in from Olive Branch. We do have additional signage that we're looking at for Getwell and State Line, Star Landing and Highway 51. There was something else I can't remember.
Yeah, well, State Line maybe.
Yeah, Getwell, possibly Goodman, and Getwell at some point to do kind of a district sign. But this gets our design specs put together. It gets them out to bid. We could do 3 or we could do 7. We need to get the bid out there. We need to get those specs out there so we don't have to keep doing this every 3 signs. So
And
this
just
is kind of
if I may add to that, mainly the change is real simple. Like the signs that we have that have what they call a radius design, they're arched, like the one that's at State Line and Northwest, or the interstate right there. Basically, when we initially started talking about this, they were going to put those in districts, and so it would have like West End District, Snowden District, Metro District, or whatever. Well, we realized that a lot of these are at city entrance locations, like Whitney said, Malone and Goodman. That's going to be a grand city entrance location. And since it's going to be at an intersection, we realize that it's better to have the radius look, to have the curved look, but we need to change it. Instead of having district, we're going to put Southaven like that.
And it will be larger because we have faster speeds going down Goodman Road, and the visibility of the sign needed the larger signage, so we had to do a change up for those areas.
So that's all that's changing really. The most of the task order, like Whitney said, would be we're into a new budget year. So what we did is we allocated enough money in the beautification line to try to do at least 2 a year. We may be able to get 3. When we bid it last time, we just did it for 3, so we're going to have to rebid. So they'll be overseeing that. But we really believe the more that we've done these, we got a tighter grip on it. We're probably not going to need a whole lot of inspection.
Right.
So we're just basically approving that hourly rate, for when we do need urban art.
All of them do have the lighting package like what you see out here.
And the one, by the way, the second one is at I-55 and Star Landing. That is under construction now. So if you've been on I-55, that it's going to have a grand look. It's on that hill. It looks good. We adjusted it upward a little bit, so it's got good visibility. It's going to be a grand entrance to the city on the south side. Any other discussion? Okay, we didn't actually have a motion. Is there a motion to approve it? You got the motion? Okay. Got a motion from Alderman Hoots. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a second from Alderman Brooks. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is Mayor's report. I'll start with the district's banners since we were just recently talking about that. We can get some photos up on that. Basically, just to recap some history here, the reason that we're buying new brackets is we realized in 2014, when we first did the banners, we realized that the brackets that we were using were susceptible to wind. So that's why you've seen us have to replace a lot of the banners. They've gotten tattered and frayed. And so we realized that there's a better bracket that holds it more steady. So that's why Whitney has that on there. to get the other brackets. When we get the other brackets in, we realized that it was a good time to go ahead and make whatever changes that we needed. First of all, let me start, if we can go to the Metro. All right, y'all know that last year we created the Metropolitan District, which is our third business district in the city. It's the Church Road I-55 area. And the reason we named it Metropolitan is we have economic prospects there that will bring like an urban feel. So you've got some luxury style not apartments, but hotels that are interested in coming there. We have Tanger Outlets. It's going to be a huge retail area. We believe that we've got serious potential for possibly even like an upscale multi-story office complex, things like that will really bring an urban feel to Southaven that we've never had before. The Metropolitan District is that area, so we needed a banner. That's the banner for the Metropolitan District. And you may say before I say it, aren't those the colors that we used on the West End? And you would be correct. And so if we can flip to the West End, that leads me into that discussion. We decided or proposed that we would change the banner in the West End, and that's just because we love for our citizens to be happy. And even though we thought the other banners looked fantastic, we had some of our citizens that didn't understand the black and tan logo. They felt like the black logo, I'm still trying to understand this, but they felt like the black logo was not colorful and happy. It just kind of gave a gloomy look. Some people even said that it looked like ISIS. I heard a lot of different comments. So hey, we're listening. So we're going to change that. So we're going to make it colorful. So in the original part of Southaven, the home of the Southaven Chargers, what better color to bring than a beautiful ocean blue? So there you go. We got a new West End District color. And I didn't take theater at any time in my life either. I'm just feeling a lot of past conversations coming about right now. So excuse the theatrics on my part. But anyway, we got a beautiful new blue West End District banner. We got the black in there to make it classy steel that's going to match the mast arms where they're going to be installed. So these are actually on order now. And when the brackets come in and the banners come in, we'll install the West End District banners. Not only were they where the black ones are now, but y'all will recall that on Highway 51 in our original business district, we added mast arms when we did our intersection modernization project there. So we'll be able to add these banners on Highway 51 too, so that we think it'll really improve the look of our city. Contrary to some of the concerned citizens, we've had many citizens that understand the business district concept. They've seen it in other cities. Business districts have zero to do with residential neighborhoods. They have everything to do with revitalization and showing the key assets that you have in a certain business district in your city. We believe that the West End District has enormous potential to be revitalized and to be a thriving part of our city again. So we're going to continue to do everything we can to promote the West End District. So we got that one there. We got the Metropolitan banner. And then the Snowden one did not change. We're just going to, add the new brackets to preserve them longer. So anyway, we've come a long way in trying to explain that the West End District and the Snowden District were never to divide the city. They're, again, to highlight key assets of our city. And so we've added a third one. Very proud of that. We have big plans in the Metro District. There's a lot of interest in the Metro District, with the business types that I mentioned. And we hope that within the next 12 to 18 months, you're going to see some things shake loose in the Metropolitan District, and it's going to be a thriving part of our city as well. Okay, so that's enough of the, any discussion or questions about the banner?
Mr. Mayor, going back to the West End District sign, that's blue?
Yeah, it's blue. It kind of has a purple hue in the photo, but we actually got physical samples and held them and touched them and looked at them.
Just a suggestion, and not to do a whole lot to it. I mean, I like the sign, it looks really good, but what if we made just the stars orange, just to give it a little bit more of a Charger feel?
Well, just my suggestion, and that's one of the reasons why I'll just be real candid and open with the public and everybody. If we try to lay out and design a banner for 55,000 people to agree on, we're going to be here a while. And so I just took,
I don't disagree.
I just took along with listening to my resources. Whitney is very skilled in her creativity. Christy Faulkner, you know, I really relied on them to give me some input on what you think looks good. But specifically the orange, I think the orange would, just my opinion is it's loud. It's a little too loud.
And that's why, I just said star.
Yeah, and it's not.
Anything else is going to take over.
Right. Yeah. I think if you add the orange in there, we want to keep it simple and professional. You know, that's why I think, you know, adding the blue for the original. You know, it's not just about Southaven High School, obviously, but we can't deny that Southaven High School is a big part of our original, you know, our city, and so that's why I think the blue is good. But I would think adding the orange there would be going a little overboard. It would be too much, you know, Southaven High School. You know, this district is more than Southaven High School.
I agree.
So that's just my opinion. Whitney, would you like to add to that? Or?
I mean, I'm a simple design person, and I do know that the more color we add into it, simple design. The more color we add into it, it gets more costly because they have to layer the colors on. So we did what's called a two-tone on it. They could always redesign it, but my idea was to kind of stay as simple as we could. And then if we added star color in that one, it's almost like we have to come up with a star color for the other two to kind of stay a little bit more uniform. So I mean, that's just my opinion.
Okay.
Could be orange lighting bulbs. Could be orange lighting bulbs.
Alderman Brooks, is that a motion? He suggested we add orange lightning bulbs. So.
We're done. Let's go to the next.
Yeah.
What are doing things, Joel?
Alderman Gallagher, we're going to bring order back to the meeting. Okay. But anyway, so I just wanted everyone to see that and, you know, to open up discussion again and to know kind of where we are and, you know, why we have done what we've done. But I think having the 3 districts and the new banners up are going to be phenomenal. Just related to that, we have ordered Christmas snowflakes this year. I've had a special citizen that basically has told me that at one time we had snowflakes in the city. I don't remember that, but hey, evidently she knows what she's talking about. So it's been a mission of mine to make our citizens happy at Christmas time. So we're going to have some snowflakes this year. So the snowflakes are going to be on the new mast arms on Highway 51. We're going to have some lit up snowflakes this year. So we're proud of that. So. All right, so we'll move on if there's no other discussion about the banners. On October 24th, we're going to celebrate Breast Cancer Awareness Day. Our public communications officer, Tish Dunning, has had some great ideas, and you know, there's no one in this room that hasn't been affected by breast cancer, and so we think it's important as a city that we do our part in, you know, in bringing awareness to that. So on October 24th, we're going to ask everyone that's not in uniform to wear pink, and that will be our Breast Cancer Awareness Day. Also, the month of October is National Bully Prevention Month. So there will be some things that we're going to try to do there just to call attention to that. Obviously, our schools oversee some challenges there. And as I've mentioned to every school official that I've ever discussed with this, the city stands ready. I know our police chief, and he and I discussed this morning, our police stands ready to help in any way possible. And we certainly don't want to see any more tragedies. We know that that bullying among young people is a problem in our society, and that needs to end. We all have our opinions on how we do that, but I think it's something that as a city we should call attention to that, to let everyone know, you know, that we will do everything on our part to, you know, to prevent the bullying of our children. A couple quick updates. Rasco and Tullahoma, we've been doing a traffic study there. Things changed dramatically, as I've said before, when we cut Rasco through. Rasco has a tremendously higher volume of traffic on it now that it's an east-west corridor. And so for that reason, there's been a tremendous difference in the traffic at Rasco and Tullahoma. We went back and did some research. We thought maybe we could just put a four-way stop there at one time, and the traffic studies show that we've already transcended the stop sign need. We are at the level of needing a signal there. So when we get into further discussions in the upcoming meetings about our capital improvement plan, that's going to be one of my recommendations, that we add a signal at Rascal and Tullahoma. Just another quick update, the decorative streetlight ordinance, we continue to get new information back from Entergy regarding that. So the latest price was not much more than just putting a standard concrete pole. So now we've kind of gone full circle back to, if it's just a few dollars more, we don't want to take the ownership. So, and again, I'm dealing with the information that I've been given. At one time, I was given a number that was 4 times what a standard concrete pole is. The latest number is a concrete pole to rent from Entergy, where they take care of all the maintenance. They own the pole. They handle all the maintenance and expense. Is $14 monthly per pole. So now we can get a 20-foot decorative pole for $24 a month. So if you look at a new development, one of the most current ones, to give you an example, I rode through it the other day and counted them. The Gardens of Bell Point has 24 poles. So if you do the math on 24 times 24, you would look, I think it's about $3,900 a year is what we would pay for the entire subdivision. That's adding, is it about 300 houses? So you're getting a large amount of new property tax revenue for just about, $3,900 a year. So rather than the city jump out and require the developer to put them in and own them, in the city to do it, and then us do the maintenance on them for that small amount of money, not asking for a vote tonight, I just want to give you an update. If nothing changes with that, in a future meeting, I'll come to you and say, I would recommend that we keep doing it like we've been doing. Now that doesn't change the fact that we have some key areas like May Boulevard and Main Street where we want to go in and replace the lighting for beautification reasons. The cost of that was tremendously more to have Entergy do that. So it's still my recommendation there that the city pay the cost of that project and not have any rental fee on that. Our Public Works Department has already stated that that's not a big deal at all for them to maintain a few areas of poles in our city. So I think I know we're getting a tremendously better value in those areas because of the boring costs are so much higher on those arterial roads than they are throughout a residential neighborhood. So we'll get to that later too, but just want to give you an update on that. We are waiting on that estimate from a couple of lighting companies, electrical companies. As soon as we get that, I'll bring that back before the board. May Boulevard is going to be the first thing that's pressing as we continue to have development there in the town square, Silo Square. We need to go ahead and get the lights up. So as soon as we have those numbers, Whitney, we expect midweek next week.
Right.
As soon as I get those, I'll report back to everyone. And that's all I have this evening. Any other questions about anything I've said? Hearing none, next on the agenda is our citizens agenda. We have one person that signed up to speak. It's Effort Alexander. Please come forward to the podium.
Mr. Mayor, to Marcus here. I find it quite challenging because you've had such a harmonious meeting, and frankly, I found it quite pleasant to be here. I'm Effort Alexander. I'm a native Mississippian from Monticello area. I graduated from Jackson State, was University of Illinois, and I'm an economist by training. Worked for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for 27 and a half years, and retired as a senior economist. I'm also a pastor, presently. Pastor of one of our Southern Baptist churches in Memphis. Tonight, my service is interrupted for reasons that I concede that you will believe also that there's no reason for you to be hearing me, nor me being here. I will be at Hernando Jail, serving as a volunteer chaplain there. I serve as a volunteer chaplain at Baptist Soda. I've invested greatly in the state, even though I live in Memphis. I'm presently looking at locating back on property to which I am expressing to you my concern. Should I have to come to this county, there's certainly some influences that I hope to have, that nobody would be presented before you with such a frivolous kind of presentation of a code violation as a menace, who owns 15 acres of property that's classified as agricultural, is being also certified with the Natural Resource Conservation Service for wood and timber growth. The case in general is this, is that I received a notice as I was preparing property. I have an acre and a third of 15 acres that I'm looking at building a house and so on. And there the notice is, this notice from the code that's saying that I have a menace to connect with my property, which adjoins Grandview Hill, Grandview and Hillview Lake subdivision. As you know, with subdivisions, when you put roads on the borderline of the property lines, there's also to be a right-of-way area and sometimes an extension area. My property comes up to near the right-of-way area, but on the property line of Grandview and Hillview Lake subdivision. I was notified that my property was a nuisance property by code, and I'd like to, if I could, I'd like for you to see a graphic outline of my property as I explain to you what it is that you're seeing. You're seeing that my property does not enter into the right-of-way at all. That my property is wooded property, and I happen to have taken some of the trees off as I was getting ready to prepare a road and decided to go a different route, and then I allowed it to grow back, start growing back to the natural order again. That's the reason why I'm moving on it. It's because it's a wooded property, and I want to feel the country experience that I had in Southern Mississippi. And the subdivision persons called and made complaints concerning the property, and they've been doing it. I had this property 20 years. They've been doing it every time I do anything on the property that changes the scenery and environment. They consider it their scenery and their environment. But that's my statement, but the point is, they call, they meaning one of the residents of the subdivision, because tree limbs and stuff were growing out over the road, and they were a hazard to the bus, and also children as they come to the bus, and so they made great discussion about that. And the city, to my understanding, came and cut a small area about a couple of feet and the limbs on. First of all, that never should have happened, because that property is the property of the association of the Grandview Hillview subdivision, common property. And according to what I read in your codes, they were supposed to maintain the easement area, the right-of-way area there. There are trees and everything there. And they called complaining about me. The person didn't know that I didn't own the property they were complaining about, the right-of-way and the shade over trees. Nor was I responsible to do it. In fact, the association was. But instead, code put on their property is where this was actually located. But it was too many. Telling me that I needed to come and clean up the area, and even the area that I had expanded on my own property, which is 15 feet or more, is beyond the right-of-way, that I had to cut 30 yards back into my own property because it's a nuisance. I want to show you pictures. I paid $19 to get this. I want to show you pictures of it, and then I'll explain, if I may. If you take that one as well. They can move all of those back. That's right. And
Where's this located? You said Grandview.
Grandview Hillview Lake subdivision.
What's that?
It's not a part of the subdivision. It joins the subdivision on this road. Sir, if you really let them
State line. Grandview is it state line? Are you talking about an interior street?
It's
in
an
Grandview?
interior street.
Which one
Street
is
is
it?
called Cedar Lake Drive South.
Okay.
And the picture I'm showing you here will show you how I joined the Cedar Lake South with 230 feet of road front that joins their landline. And their landline is about 15 to 20 feet from the road surface. And coding placed that and declared my property as a nuisance. And in fact, if they had cleared the right of way as they're supposed to, we're talking 15 feet back before you get to my property. And my property has been a tree growth property. I took some of the trees out and see where you're seeing some of the growth there. That's not my growth you're looking at the beginning because it's 15 feet to go before you get to my property. If coding had made the requirements on the association as it should have, not only would the tree limbs been out of the road, but the property would have been cleared back because you got the water lines and everything runs up under it. But instead, they assigned it to me. Mr. Tuggle came out after he had made notice to me and made arrangements for me to come out with him, and I did. I don't know what Mr. Tuggle knows, but as an economist, I work for planning. We did things that has to do with eminent domain and all these kinds of things. I know about land. I've actually personally, pro se, carried 4 lawsuits that I covered myself, all the way through the 5th District of Appeals Court. And only lost those because I failed to start in time. But for them to come to me, never identify the lane lines, send me the notice, and I'm here tonight, and make an appeal to you that my property is a menace. There are no buildings on it. There's only a regrowth of weeds and stuff that was there. It's never had grass on it. It was tree growth, and I can show you. I won't show you all, but if you want, I got all kinds of data. But anyway, tree growth, natural growth, which we are championing for, and I'm trying to get there for that reason. And this party tells me, even after I point out to them, the right-of-way is here, I carry them back to the point to realize for the water lines runs and all of that 15 feet back before you get to my property. This party then made this persuasion to me. It says, but you have created grass problems behind this. This is behind the 15, and directed to me that I would have to clear up about a half acre worth of 30 feet deep into my property because of limits. Now I know why I'm here. The appeal that was made from the association persevered. They started with the problem on the road. The city actually came and cut about 3 feet back and cut the limbs off. As a taxpayer, really, that's kind of insulting. First of all, because why are we doing their work? But not only were they doing their work, they were listening to their voice that I was the responsible party. They're spending taxpayer money doing what the association should be doing, and they're attacking me for the things that actually was there to do. And our code enforcement persons wrote me up and made an appeal that I be here and defend myself.
If I may, and we want to help move this along to a resolution. Now, please stay if you don't hear. No, what I want to do is get some accurate. We want to give you facts, and we want to answer your questions and resolve. We're here to resolve it. So, Austin, would you help me? So, what is the? First of all, I've not seen that. What is the violation? What's the violation for? What is the violation of our codes?
Well, he's violating 10-7F, our new perimeter code that we have. He's over 15 acres, but he owns all the way up to the road.
I do not. And I can give you, I got a survey. Here's the survey.
That's his red line right there. He owns all.
This is the official survey. It shows your property line.
Yeah, if I may, let's speak to some facts here real quick. So first of all, like I said, I want to try to get us to a resolution quickly. So I'm listening, and what he's saying is that before we get, and correct me if I say something incorrect, if I'm not understanding, but what he's saying is that we're giving him a violation for a perimeter cut when we have public limbs that are hanging over the street. Is that correct?
No, sir. You see this picture right here, the first picture? It goes in a triangle. That tall tree right there stops.
I like to see it.
Sure. Have one. Amazing. That tall tree right there, it stops the property, and it just kind of goes into a triangle shape back towards the road on both sides. So it's just right here. This is an overgrown area that I asked to cut. That's basically what we're talking about.
So there are no limbs. This picture that he showed here, this is on the, I'm familiar with Grandview Lakes, I've driven through there. So these limbs, these trees that are close to the road, is this on his property or is this public, is this in the right of way?
It's in the right of way. I mean, we've had Brad go there a ton of times.
So we've taken care of our part in the right of way, so what?
That's the one that's talking about.
Okay, so the violation that he has nothing to do with the tree limbs.
No, sir.
It's for the grass perimeter. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to speak to that.
Yes, sir.
First of all, the word grass is being used when the picture that I can show you that you have, this is a tree area, all of it is tree growth.
But it's not anymore.
It has no grass on it. And secondly, I don't know what he said that you're hearing. He says my property goes up to the road. It does not. My property goes near the right of way area that would come to the road that extends at least 15 feet plus from the road.
Okay, and that's what we're trying to determine tonight. We understand that the right of way is a city's responsibility. But if I may, I want to get clarification. So what is the property what he's saying is, we're not talking about public property, we're talking about his property. What is specifically the violation on his property, Austin?
It's this area here. On both sides of this driveway he put in, there was a grass area. He cut one side of the driveway, which went back like that.
That's not true. And I've got pictures.
And just to clarify, this is not a municipal court, all right? This is a public board meeting. All I'm trying to do is make sure that our people did their job correctly and that we did everything by the code of ordinances. But if you disagree with that, then you can certainly go to, talk to the judge in court. But I just want to make sure that we are applying our ordinances fairly for everybody in the city.
This picture is the one side of the driveway he did cut.
That's not true.
It's not. And this is all I'm asking him to cut. In the first picture that I handed y'all, it's like a little triangle plot. There's actually 3 different angles of it. The second picture, this is kind of looking back at it, but it's just right here. It's just kind of grown up. You can see the silt fence where he put along the driveway. So we're not really talking about a lot of land. It's just a small plot.
But it's on his property.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Is there some reason that you wouldn't want to cut that on your property?
Exactly. First of all the descriptions that are being made here are being made out of context with the fact. The fact that he showed you that tree line there and all of that. What has occurred there was I had moved some of the trees in an effort to, initially was going to make a road through there. And I decided not to make the road through there. And I have allowed that property remember also that it is a agricultural zone. It is also classified as woodland. All of it. And everything that you're seeing, that wood line that you see where you said that we cut it back, that wood line went all the way across there, and they only cut back about 3 feet. There's an easement. The road easement is at least the property lines that are the property lines of that association. They go deep at least 15 feet there. And he said we're being treated the same throughout the city.
Certainly.
I took the pictures just on my way back to Memphis. Decided to take a few pictures of the roadside of property. And everything that he's talking about, if they had done 15 feet back, you'll see the growth that's there, that's just like the growth I have. And he told me that we do this all over the city. We're not picking on you. We're not just choosing you. And I've got pictures and I can go anywhere in this city, in any number of places in this city, and the cutback from the right of way, those are the pictures I like for you to see. and they are expressively exactly the way mine would look if in fact they were cut back to the property line of the association. And if they're not violating, there's no way in the world that I'm violating.
But is that association property, or is that city, is that public right of way? Whitney,
No,
is it
no,
public right of way?
no. You're not,
I'm sure we're talking about this.
you're not understanding what I'm saying. I am saying that my property line starts excessive of the distance of that right of way, the
I'm
easement.
understanding
Okay,
that.
then I'm also saying to you that you got exact pictures of properties that are exactly as I am, where the areas, the roadside that is the right of way, and I should say the right of way has been cleared. And the growth is exactly like my growth is. And he's saying to you now, something's wrong with my growth, that I need to do something. Even though it's 15 feet away, by the way, I know this, no matter what the ordinance are, that the 14th Amendment, which I carried through those other cases, that there's no way that I could be put into any court system on the basis of the fact that I took a agricultural property and I decided to take a few trees off of it and let it grow back, that I'm a nuisance. That I define what a nuisance is. That's exactly even what you call a nuisance. The only area that you make any comment about grass and weeds, which I understood that this was what you meant, I thought, was that there's a regrowth that moved beyond what is the standard of what was there. That the standard of what was there was grass to be cut, like when we set up a lot, and somebody started letting weeds and stuff grow. The standard of growth here was a natural standard of God that brought trees and bushes and things of that order. There's nothing been built, no development been done, and I'm standing here with someone telling me that I'm supposed to impose an unnatural situation on what was the natural because I took some trees off of the property that I own.
Well, I will say when the trees are removed, it's no longer a wooded lot. I mean, that is a fact. But I'm not, hey, look, this is not court. Hang on just a second. This is not court. I'm trying to help you if you'll let me speak. I do understand what you're saying. And if you're making a point that we're asking you to do something that the city is not doing in a public right of way, that's the first question I need to be answered, because that we would not ask you to do something that we do not do on our own. So my first question I need to know, Austin, is our right of way grown up the same way the private property is grown up?
Worse.
Well, on the front of his property where I'm asking him to cut, it's been cut back. Now his property line has a wooded area on it where trees have grown over into the road, and we've cut those back, in the past, and I asked Bradley to
Sure.
cut back this year.
We commonly do that throughout the
So we
city.
cut them back. We cut the trees that grow up that he talks about the school buses come through, we cut those back.
Did you say my property line?
Well, it's coming
Did you
off.
say my property line?
Mhm. It's
I
coming
want
off.
you to note that, and that's going to come back before you. He's saying my property line. That's part of what I'm saying when he came out there. I hate to say this, but apparently there's some problem with understanding land and land layout.
Well, all his
No,
He
sir.
said-
No,
He said
sir.
my property
I'm
line.
not misunderstanding.
all
You
his
excuse me.
neighbors along the same street as him, they have well-maintained yards all the way up to the street that they maintain. The city doesn't come back and cut 4 or 5 feet back out of the public easement. They just maintain that property.
Right, and that's not uncommon. Throughout the city, we'll have areas where private property owners will cut all the way to the curb line in some residential area. That's not uncommon. What I'm asking is that the area that you're referring to, that the city that's not maintaining, is that in a public right of way?
Yes.
Austin,
No, sir.
it's not.
That's his property.
You hear that? I want everybody to hear that. Now, I've got everything in front of
And
you.
excuse me, just one more second. And then what is where's the ordinance?
It's 10-7F, the new one we just passed. I got it pulled up on my phone.
And are we at warning state, or has there been a citation issued?
Well, I condemn the property. I mean, we could go and cut it ourselves tomorrow if we wanted. He asked to speak with you guys, so I held off until he could come in and talk to y'all.
Condemn the property. May I speak?
Let's, hang on, just one, you're gonna get a chance to speak again. I wanna hear what the ordinance says. And Nick, we need your help to inform them, let us all know is, that's, we're gonna do it right.
It's unsafe property, is what the code is. Any parcel of land accompanying 10 or more acres shall only be required to mow and maintain 200-yard perimeter, which this is less than that, way less than 200-yard perimeter. All parcels encompassing more than 10 acres shall be required to mow the entire property. So this, his property is 15 acres, so he's subject to the perimeter code. But the property that I'm asking him to cut is, it's way less than that. It's less than 200 yards.
So it's in a line, and we just actually changed that ordinance to make it more forgiving on a private property owner to have the perimeter cut. So that's the one that you're referring to. And how many, again, how many square feet of grass are you talking about cutting?
Probably goes back maybe 120 feet. And then the picture, y'all can see in that picture, the length of it, maybe 60 feet.
Okay, so it's a small area.
It's not that much.
Okay.
We'll go to appeals court before I pay one dime for that.
Okay, well, you're getting an option tonight to hear, if you don't cut the grass, we're gonna cut the grass and condemn it.
So let me.
And then you can speak in court.
Is there a recording of this meeting? I hope so. I want you to look at that photo there. I wish I had can I go there and point?
Sure.
Mr. Tuggle said it's about property line.
Is this undeveloped? Is that?
Yes, it's undone.
It's near Grandview Lakes, but it says,
It's not-
go ahead with what you're gonna do, sir.
Now, I gave you a copy of the action survey. And the action survey showed the property line, that the property line of the subdivision is here. And it goes like this. You see these tree growth, and all of this growth is up here. That's subdivision property.
That's right.
That's the right
That's
of
the
way.
right of way.
I understand, it's subdivision, it's owned by the subdivision.
No, it's owned by the city. Right of way is owned by the city.
Right-of-ways are a lease process. The actual property is the property of the subdivision.
The property I'm asking you to cut is behind that line anyway.
Let me just finish, if I may. Right-of-way is by definition a right to that area, that it may be perpetual, it may be endless, but it is not the property of the city, it is the right-of-way. That's the whole idea of having a right-of-way. Is that
For traffic safety, correct.
I'm saying it's used, that property has a definitive use to be used for, and it has that perpetually. But that property is the property that is of this group of people. Now, having said that, I know that's so.
That's not
But let me
correct.
ask you this.
I'm sorry, but that's
Why
not
don't you
correct.
use the term-
That subdivision, when it was platted,
Right.
and that road was dedicated with that plat,
Right.
was under basically a promissory note
Right.
that when it was finally built out with
Right.
respect to the city would take it over, own it,
Right.
and maintain it from there on out.
Own it.
That includes the road and the properties
let-
on each
let me
side.
just say
Is the city.
guys
Or you can ask, our
If this
attorney's
is-
here. You can ask our attorney.
This, stop. I don't have the opportunity to do something. I know I'm the only African American in here.
Hey, we're not going there, no, sir. No, sir. We'll end the conversation. This is not, that has nothing to do with this discussion. Don't say that again, or we will end this discussion.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, sir. You go ahead and finish, go ahead.
No, that's the word in this.
No, you're trying to make this something it's not.
If I
No.
thought that.
I'm trying to answer your questions and be fair. That's what I'm trying to do. It has nothing to do with what you just
I
said.
heard you say that,
Okay?
but I also heard you say that if I say that again, I don't know why I'm so damaged by giving my opinion like that. That if I say it again.
The purpose of the citizens agenda is to answer your questions regarding a potential code violation, and that's what we're going to talk about.
I plan to talk about that.
Okay? You're getting an opportunity now, but that opportunity is about to end, so I would encourage you to go ahead and proceed with speaking.
I didn't know that this was the atmosphere.
You're not going to turn the meeting into a circus. Let's go.
I tell you what, I will stop.
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, let's go ahead. It's over.
Let me ask you,
Okay, is there anyone else that would like to speak on the citizens' agenda?
This is picture.
Okay, hearing or seeing none. Next on the agenda is our personnel docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the personnel document presented on this page.
Second.
We have a motion from Alderman Brooks, second from Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Who.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is our city attorney's legal update. Mr. Nick Manley.
Have two items, no action, just entering to the minutes. First is just entering the minutes of Deputy Court Clerk Michaela Easton, or Heston, in the minutes. Just no action, put her in the minutes. She was sworn by Judge Delgado, or I'm sorry, Judge Naaman. And then also enter into the minutes surplus agreement and waiver of liability agreement for Jimmy Bond with the retired dog Turbo, which he will be maintaining under Mississippi Code Section 45-3-52. So just authorizing, and those just be placed into the minutes, and no action taken or anything.
Thank you, sir. Next on the agenda is our utility bill adjustment docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the utility bill adjustment docket as presented on this date.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Who.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda are two claims dockets.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve claims docket number 1 in the amount of $3,489,005.30, including demand checks.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hoots on docket 1. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Who.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Is there a motion to approve docket 2?
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve docket number 2 in the amount of $316,975.32.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Okay, next on our agenda is to determine that if we have a need for executive session.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Wheeler. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The need this evening is economic development within the city and claims against public works. There's no longer need, personnel need.
We still have one.
Well, okay. And then personnel in the Southaven Police Department. Is there a motion to declare executive session?
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Kelly, second by Alderman Hoots. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The mayor and board will now enter executive session.